Okay, welcome back, guys. So we're now at the final round of the last chance qualifier here at Ghana. So now it's been an intense run, and I've had an amazing time running commentary with Excel. We've seen different countries from Nigeria, Zambia, holding strong, and now we're streaming the table 8. We have table 6. We have Akanbi, Dipo and Kwame Adjei. Now on the standings, they are both at 11th and 12th position. And from these standings, they are only going to pick 9 players at the end of the day. So I would like to assume this is a very crucial game, and whoever wins might make it to that spot for tomorrow's main event. So stay tuned and be ready to be blown away.
All right, if you're in the chat, you're rooting for the Ghanaian or you're rooting for your fellow Nigerian, make sure you drop a like or you drop your flag. The players are getting set to slug it out, and let's see who makes it into the main event tomorrow.
Okay, and the game is on. With Kwame going first, he has a rack of
CIRTODN. All right, he has plays like DITTO available on the first turn. He could choose to play really short, maybe just TOD leaving RINT seems solid, but at the same time, we could play longer, play 5 letter word, DITTO, go into the bag and pick mortals.
okay. I think we're seeing Thor coming down for 8 points, leaving INRT.
All right. Akombi Dipo has BAITHIN. I believe this is in habit, and it's going to drop on this turn.
For 75 points. If he plays it just underneath third or above, either way it works. Same points.
And I believe he has spotted the move and he chooses to play it above third, which is understandable because if he plays it below, then it exposes the eye for what's like maybe Gregs to play across the triple lane. I would score way too much. So this is a bit safer. The only thing I has to worry about are powers like F, and then it's like IF playing into the triple world. But this is still understandable. Inhabit scores 75. The scores are Akobi's 75 to Kwame's 8.
All right. We might be seeing another bingo from Kwame.
And this is going to be really tough. His top choices are 9 letter words. I would like to see if anybody in the chat can point out the 9 letter
letter.
word from the BO.
So other choice will be to play through the end of inhabit, which is either intender or intend.
Yes, which we can see he has rightfully seen those moves. But if he wants to, go fancy or anything, he could play the 9 letter word, which I'm low-key rooting for him to see. But still, intern is pretty solid here.
Okay. So intend in T is for 68 points. All right, back to Dipo. We have JAWBOCE on his rack, and his top choice will be to play Jabots through the T of intend to the triple word.
That scores 48 points, leaving CEW. All right, we are seeing some analysis from someone in the chat. And then it's a bit unpredictable since those who are going to qualify are only 9 out of this 46. And currently this is table 6. So depending on the wins, the spreads from those in the top 8 currently, it's going to be pretty tough to determine if Akabi Dipo or Kwame is going to make it into the top 9. But I mean, let's just focus on this game, see how both players are going to play out this game.
Okay, so Dipo is yet to make a move. Aside Jabot, he could also play Dowd, which is not standard to me.
Yes, the rest of his options would be exposing the J to the triple if he plays JAWED or JOWED. So I think spotting Jabot here is a bit crucial because I'm not saying very, any play that jumps out to me aside that. And if he wants to keep the J for the next turn, he could opt for BICE. He could cash in on that C above the H in inhabit and play BICE there.
Yeah, that scores about 34 points, leaving AJOW.
Yes, which can still do some damage in his next turn.
Exactly.
You can see him taking his time. He has saying JAWED, but I'm sure he's worried about the consequence of that when his opponent plays through the J4 to the triple. And as we can see from Kwame's rack, if Dipo plays that, he would have no response whatsoever. And yes, as we predicted, he wants to keep the J for the next turn, just play the dice and move on.
So Kwame is having all consonants right now. CNTSLSR.
Thankfully, the E in intern is still open to play through, so he would have
Maybe
options, yes, like cells.
sense.
I think you're seeing a. Okay, I think there was a challenge there, but I doubt it. All right, so it's Kwame's turn now, and I'm sure he's fixated on the E, just wondering if it should play Celt and keep the S, because the moment he adds the extra S to Celt, his opponent knows for sure that he's keeping another S on his rack ball.
Yeah, it's going for that either ways. So
Yes,
16 points, leaving NSR committed.
yeah, and that gives him more chances to pick a vowel. All right, we see Dipo. It's JOWANHU.
Now, at that same spot where he could have played Jabot, he could play Jaunt for 45. But I think we are getting Joan. I think he hasn't really noticed that spot. Do you think it's because of that BI
Yeah,
kind of
now that the BI is there, it makes it slightly harder to see that, okay, you can play BIN and JUNT. But for Dipo, I think these are standard plays and it's something you can see any day, anytime.
okay, I think we might be seeing Jaunt.
Right.
Exactly.
He finally sees the move, and HOW is very strong. So this scores 45 points, leaving really good tiles. And we see Kwame with RENISRS.
We're definitely getting a bingo here.
Yes, 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 we are. Currently, the scores are Dipo's 154 to Kwame's 92. And after a bingo of something like Rinsers, who can inhabit, is going to take the lead.
Okay.
Right, if you're in the charts once again and you're rooting for the Nigerian Dipo, you could drop a flag or leave a comment. And if you're rooting for the Ghanaian Kwame to make it into the spot for the main event tomorrow, make sure you leave a comment in the chat.
Right. He's choosing to play his Windsors in such a way that he exposes the triple.
Really shocked by this play because he could slide that down a bit and still play Rinsers Cocaine in habits ball without exposing the triple triple or the I next to the triple word score. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting placement, and I think he's not calming himself down enough to see he can just play the exact same word by moving the tiles down.
I mean, this is the last round. There must be issues of like maybe fatigue and then
True,
pressure, and
true.
that might have affected his decision. So I think we are seeing rinsers in that.
I'm curious to see. All right, now with that play, Dipo is going to have what like ragworm available to him.
Yeah, truly how
Yes,
rinsers.
and this is exactly what we're talking about. Without that R floating on the triple, a 48 points play would not have been available for Dipo, but now he has even other options like Haru,
Yeah,
HARROW,
Amaru.
scoring 39.
Yeah. Either way, you score above 30 points in this turn.
We're going to see Dipo take his time. I'm sure he has cited words like Haru, but seeing something like Ragwam would be exactly what he wants, leaving just H and giving him as much chance to pick any of the blanks left.
And scoring significantly higher.
Yes.
So I see Kwame has picked the first blank of the game.
For anyone who has been following Dipo in his last game, he was said to miss a stellar play of SQUEEZE. He instead opted for SNEEZE, scoring way less. So it's understandable if there's a lot of fatigue, from the traveling to playing the LCQ, playing 7 games all day. But I think if he's calm enough and looks at the board very well, he can find his top choices.
KNC is yet to make a move on this turn.
Yeah.
What do you think is possibly running through his mind?
Yeah. The thing is, as much as his rats might look clunky, the fact that there are words ending with gram, or he could play something worm, it's probably thinking there could be a really obscure bingo here. And even in the absence of that, as we already know, he has a word like ragwam available for him. So I think he has the feeling that there is a high scoring word he can play here, but he just can't place his finger on it.
I think we're seeing something different here.
Yes, is opting for HOAR, rage. I mean, keeping WGM is not what he wants right now. A play like Harrow would have been a lot better, but he opts for HOAR.
For 37 points, leaving WGM.
Scores well, but he really needs incredible pulls to make his styles a lot better right now. All right, we see Kwame with UMPYLA. These are one of the tiles you see, and you're wondering, there has to be something here. You're thinking to the J, maybe there's a really high scoring play here, or the A, or even a 9 letter word through the HION or AS.
And there is a 9 letter word through the ON of Boa and
Yes.
Rinsers, which
Prior
is
to Deep's move, there was no bingo available. Oh, the play hasn't been committed. That's interesting.
interesting.
All right, we see Dipo is still thinking things through. I'm sure in his mind he knows there is something here he could play that is a lot better than HOAR. If he simply sports horror, I think that's very standard play here.
Okay, we might be seeing arrow.
All right. Is going for MHORR, leaving WAG.
Oh, MHOR.
All right, this scores 30 points, and I think WAG is a much better lead than WMG would have kept
Yeah.
in the previous option. So,
And I think he didn't want to leave that triple lane still
yes,
open. So he missed arrow and wagon.
true. So, unfortunately, we will not be seeing the word like
Luminary.
luminary years coming down if the ON was available. All right, we see Kwame looking through his options like Yom. I think he wants to play that underneath MH in MHORR.
I think you could play Young, scoring significantly more by 34
True,
points.
true. All right, he opts for Yom, keeping the P. Maybe he's worried about his draws after that and just wants to play 3 tiles so his rack doesn't get overblown.
I think he did see Young, but he
Yes.
placed back the Peter.
Yes.
Okay, Yom has been committed for 27 points, leaving ALP blank.
All right.
Back to Dipo, we have OGEEWAE.
All right, the tiles are getting a bit ugly for Dipo right now, but he still has a couple of options. One of the top choices would be WOOSE through the S in Rinsers. That leaves a leave of AGE, which can go quite well with additional tiles. But it goes for SWE, is still going for the same idea of playing out as much tools as he can and letting go of that W.
Okay, interesting choice. So SWEE committed for 21 points, leaving.
AOGE,
He came back to Kwame with FLAPIT.
IC blank.
Okay, we might be seeing a bingo here.
Yeah, let's see if anyone in the chat can spot this. We can see Kwame arranging one on his rack already.
For yeah,
There
pitfall.
is a bingo that scores 80.
Very interesting was this
Yes.
flip it. Okay.
Flip it would make the B on the double letter score, and that would score 80 points overall. Pitfalls, it's not a bad choice at all. That scores 76.
Yeah.
All right, we see him taking his time. I'm sure he's thinking of something like plaintiff, but that would probably be like a 9 letter word or something. So as soon as he looks through his options and sees, okay, pitfalls is pretty decent, I think he would go for it.
Yeah, scores about 76 points.
Yes.
Enough to keep him in the lead.
I think if I were Kwame, I would be so fixated on the E in sweet because the tile combinations look like you would have a word ending with E and you can play to the triple.
Yeah, that might explain why he's here to play
True.
pitfalls.
All right, we see him making up his mind and going for pitfalls. We believe the blank designation would be L. I'm curious if we will see a challenge from Dipo. I mean, it's a pretty common word, but in Scrabble, you might doubt if certain words are valid or not. So I'm curious to see if there'll be any challenge for this move, especially with the fact that Kwame spent some time, and yeah, that sometimes give the opponent a hint that okay, maybe this player wasn't sure of playing this word. So let's see what happens. All right, Dipo confirms the blank designation and records Kwame's score.
So moving on to Dipo with the rack of Vagoexi. I think he's playing pretty quickly. Standard choice of Vox for 39 points, leaving AEGI.
You know, if Wooz was played in the previous turn,
Yeah, it would
the
have prevented
pitfalls, yes,
people.
flip it would have so come down through the E of Sui, but it would not score as much as the 76 for pitfalls. So Vox comes down quickly, leaving AGIE, and we see Kwame has found the second blank in this game.
Interesting.
Although he only picks one vowel, he has PEDG blank KL.
Okay. A bit clunky, even with the K, even with the blank.
I think one thing he'll be looking to do is keep the E by all means and just dump the K and G somewhere, or the K and P. You can see he has separated the P and K. Maybe hoping to play kept through the E in interned.
Okay, that would be a very nice find if you can play through the E of
They
intent.
are forming Bing and KEP.
Yeah. Same spot, you could also play cake, but I think we are seeing something different.
All right, he's going for geek instead. He wants to keep the board short, and that's understandable. The E's in Sui are very tempting to play bingo with, and it's understandable why he wants to start doctoring the board and make sure no bingos come at the end of the game.
All right, Geek has been committed for 19 points and is back to Dipo.
And we're yet to see Dipo place his tiles on his rack, and I'm sure he will do that in a minute. Oh, we are seeing EU Gary's come down. Interesting, even with the geek move that was played to block the floaters, EU Gary's still managed to squeeze into the board.
For 66 points.
Yes, and that sort of even things out. Kwame is on 291, Dipo is on 310, and with Kwame playing next, he could either catch up or play bingo and go further into this game.
With the blank, I think we might see a bingo coming through. Okay. Tenfold has a 7 on his rack.
Yes, that would play with BOP and IDE, straight 7 underneath third. Curious to see if Kwame can find this move, and if he can't, he has pretty decent options such as the lobe through the E in Ugaris. So let's see what he comes up with. All right, we see you, Victor, in the chat. For context, this is the last game of the last chance qualifier, and we can see Kwame and Dipo here on stream, hoping to snatch a spot in the top nine to make it to play in the main event starting tomorrow. All right, we can see Kwame taking his time. I'm sure he has a feeling that there has to be a bingo here. I mean, the A in Jones looks very promising.
Yeah.
Even the R in intern looks very enticing, but his best bet here is to play a 7-letter word, pen, fold, making his blank F. All right, we see he's taking his time. He has spotted, plunged, but there is no spot for that on this board. He just needs to keep shuffling his tiles and open penfold pops up to him. The interesting thing is if Kwame does win this game with enough points and makes it into the top nine, he's going to be the only Ghanaian from the last chance qualifier to make it into the main event. There were 21 Ghanaians competing in this last chance qualifier, and Kwame is the only Ghanaian that has made it to the top of the standings. So hopefully he wins this game and is able to feature in the main event. But of course, Dipo too wants that spot as badly, and I'm sure he's going to fight for it in this game.
Exactly. Okay, Kwame is still taking his time on this track and is yet to make a move. Is yet to make a move, and I think it's found it.
He almost did it just now. He was so close to arranging penfold. But seeing the word is one thing and being sure of it is another thing. You might see it and think, oh, it's probably just a chaff I read somewhere or something. So, all right. We see he's still taking his time. Engineer Dipo looks bored and just waiting for Kwame to play his move, and he plays his own move too.
What do you think about Engineer Dipo's style of kicking? He tends to just put.
He's showing us a sneak peek into his seventh house, just showing us three and keeping the remaining four for himself.
He shocked us with that last move.
Yeah. Oh, we see someone in chat pointing out that he's so close to Ponderal, yes, but the R is not where he wants it to be. I sincerely get why Kwame is spending so much time. If it were to be me, that is all I would be thinking of. I'll be wondering how doesn't this rack play to that A in Jones? Wow, he sees. Oh, he was so close. I thought he was going to arrange pen fold. Now he's probably playing end pole.
Would this be the first funny we are seeing in this game?
Yes, I'm sure Dipo is going to waste no time challenging that off the board. End pole is invalid. that he's playing end pole. Dipo's expression is so comical to me right now. Okay, we see him arrange the rest of his tiles and then proceeds to challenge this play. As expected, I mean, end pole looks too weird or obscure to leave on this board. All right, now that we are seeing the rest of Dipo styles, we see AGAAOQE. All right, we are seeing a bit of controversy on stream, and I'm sure the tournament director would sort things out as soon as possible. All right, we are seeing a bit of drama unfold, but I'm sure the tournament directors would have this sorted in no time.
Okay, we're not exactly sure what is unfolding here, but there's a bit of a drama, but we're hoping it to be sorted soon. So stay with us. Okay, I think we may be seeing a challenge. Maybe they're having a challenge. And yeah, unfortunately, like we said earlier, end poll is a phony and we don't know exactly what drama ensued, but that has been sorted out. So back to Dipo, he played cards, wasting no time.
All right, with that move, Penfold is still available for Kwame, but will he be able to spot it this time? All right, we're seeing play plonk, retaining ED blank.
All right, Plonk coming down for 17 points. And it's back to Dipo with OAAGEIO.
With only one consonant here, the G. All right, current scores we have Kwame on 308 to Dipo's 322. So I guess he can still afford to maybe exchange or just play shots towards here like Gajo exactly. Still maintaining his lead, but keeping only vowels here and hoping to pick some consonants in the bag. I think the whole point of that move was to block the A in Jones, which looked very easy to play bingo through.
All right, Kwame has a rack of FODEND blank. And it could play right beside Plonk that I just played, which is field for 27 points, leaving DN blank. Another option might be an obscure spot.
All right, he has MUFF available. The whole point of this play is just to play the F and keep DNEDO blank. But we see him go for OF and FE atop you guys.
Okay, back to Dipo. He has a rack of AIRAEIO. I think he picked more vowels than just a single consonant.
And I think we're seeing going for an exchange, which is very reasonable because most of his plays either score too little or exposes too much for his opponents. He retains RAE and goes into the bag hoping to pick the blank, the Z, or other goodies available. We see Kwame with ENDOWD blank. I think he arranged endowed just now, but there would be no spot for that. One of his options is to keep things tight with Dipo's exchange. Now he can play something like OW for 19 to catch up and still wait for an opportunity to bingo later in this game.
And just through Jones, the A in Jones, he could play Wado for scoring more points, 21, leaving EN of blank.
Oh, we're seeing an interesting choice here. So I'm sure he's tracking and he sees that there are three E's available and three A's still on scene, but banking on picking those tiles and playing just DE seems a bit worrisome if you ask me.
Yeah. Okay, back to Dipo. He has a rank of RAVEZEL. If he's willing to use a Z in this turn, it could play Zea, ZEA, just right beside Plonk for 32 points, leaving ELVR. Now, he could decide to leave his Z for this turn and play Veril through the E of rinsers and the V hooking the IDE for Vide. So we're seeing something similar but not exactly. I'm seeing Vera here from him.
Yeah, that's an interesting play. Vera takes no back hook, so he doesn't have to worry about what's like Vera's or anything.
Okay, Vera committed for 21 points. Are we getting a challenge?
Yeah, I think we are. All right, that's going to be an additional 5 points for Dipo. All right, we can see there's a lot of tension right now. Both players are trying desperately to make sure they win this game, and Kwame doesn't want to take any chances. The moment he doubts that Vera is valid, he's going to challenge it and see if it's valid or not.
Okay, so we are seeing an additional 5 marks because Vera is indeed correct.
Kwame's rack, you see UNWOOD blank. Usually, there are a lot of words ending with WOOD. In fact, it has not wood right now or on wood on UNWOOD. But with the shape of the board, there is no way bingo is coming down right now, which is what makes this Vera move especially impressive because the right hand side of the board is becoming more and more blocked as Kwame recognizes that now and plays LOWN, setting up a lot of or a couple of back hooks to this move because LOWN takes D, it takes the E, and it takes the S.
All right, back to Dipo. He has a rack of AIALZER. A couple of options here might be to play Juarez through the W.
Yes, with the last move of Kwame,
Yeah,
Juarez is now
Juarez is the
available
top
for
move
Dipo.
for 54 points, leaving a high hill. Another option might be to play Zania through the hen of Lawn. Either ways, it should be able to score above 50 with these two options.
True. But still, Dipo has to be very careful. He knows there's still one black on scene. Even if he goes for Juarez, what if Kwame bingos out? So there are only two
Exactly.
tiles left in the bag, and Dipo wants to make sure he's analyzing this game as well as he can. Personally, I think LOWN was a very fantastic move. Might not be the computer's top choice, but it adds some nuance to the game because now Dipo has to really worry about that spot. And we remember that Kwame added the D to hook LOWN, so it doesn't even have to designate his blank as an E or S. All right, we've gotten a sneak peek of what Kwame has. He has EUOYID, and from that rack, he would not be able to draw or play a 7 letter bingo. But here's the thing now, there are 2 tiles left. If Dipo wants to play out one tile because he's worried about an out bingo from Kwame, that gives Kwame one more chance to fish for a bingo. So I think we'll be seeing a very interesting end game. Kwame is on 357 to Dipo's 316.
Going neck to neck. So meanwhile, the players are reconciling. So every move matters here, like a lot. So both players are going to have to take their time to make sure they are making the best decision.
True. We see some conversations going in the chat about who I was rooting for looking in this tournament. The Kenyan female who has been maintaining top 10 for most of the game. And someone is suggesting perhaps a wild card since she's the only female most likely going to make the top 9, but I mean that's left to the organizers to decide on. All right, we see Dipo taking his time, tracking the tiles, making sure he's making no mistakes. From his perspective, there is DEIIOTUY blank unseen. That means there is TI in the bag. From his perspective, there are a ton of bingos that could still fit with the LOWN setup. So he has to be really careful. Yes, he doesn't know Dipo as, so he doesn't know Kwame as EUOYID, which doesn't play any bingo right now, but still he needs to do everything right to make sure he wins this game.
Okay, I'm very interested for this end game. I really want to say because any mistake from any party would definitely take the lead to the next player.
True. So when Dipo realizes that the tiles left in the bag could, yield a bingo, I'm curious to see how he's going to block that LOWN setup.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we know for sure Kwame doesn't have a bingo, but still, Dipo has no idea, and he has to still, decide if I'm going for the Juarez, play my 54 points. If he has a bingo, he has it, and if he doesn't, then all fine and good. Or he's going to be paranoid enough to say, nah, I have to block that spot. I think the most interesting thing would see if Dipo were to drop just one tile, seeing if Kwame can bingo right now. And the truth is, with ZAALIER on Dipo's rack, dropping just a could yield some bingos in some scenarios. All right, we see Dipo still analyzing the board, checking everywhere, looking at the scores, looking at the tiles left, and making sure he's not making any mistake. I'm really curious to see what will happen if Dipo just plays an A somewhere, leaving RALIZE. We know for sure that there is T and I in the back. So let's say he picks the I, he's going to have like Rise as an out bingo, which is going to score quite well. Token LOWNE. So that is one way to think this game could go. But Kwame could also recognize that threat if Dipo goes for a one-tile fish. Okay, we see Dipo eventually making up his mind to play Wazir. This has to be a miss. Juarez in the same spot would score 50, and Wazir is scoring significantly less, only 36 points. The thing is, if you've made up your mind that you're not going to block the setup, then the top choice would be to go for your highest point exactly. So I'm sure he's not seeing the Juarez. Now, the thing with Nazir is, yes, it slightly obstructs the LOWN, but with a hook like LOWNE or LOWND, it's still pretty easy to land a bingo there. All right, now you see Dipo with LEATI and Kwame is left with EUOYID. Can't fish for any more tiles. The tile bag is empty.
The stop move would be to probably play Yod, just interlapping alongside Nazir, YODE, for 40 points.
Yes, that scores well and it looks scary. But the thing is, Dipo can easily overlap that play and score in the 30s. So there really isn't
Exactly.
any winning move here for Kwame. But who knows, there might still be some errors made. The Nazir move looks, a bit questionable. Who knows? Dipo plays another move that would give Kwame a chance. So let's see if more drama unfolds in this game. All right, we see the players reconciling the scores once more. Like I said, there's a lot of tension.
In this game,
Yes. You really can't blame the players for being this diligent. The registration for the last chance qualifier is $100, and missing out to play in the main event because of a rookie mistake would be something no one would want for themselves. So you can see each player looking through the scores, making sure it's accurate. But from our end here, all things being equal, Kwame should be on 357 to Dipo's 388. Okay, we see Kwame taking his time, and we can't blame him. I think one of his options here is Dre, which is something he's doing here because YOD just gives way too much back to your opponent.
yeah, it's taking back Dre though. Maybe he's still contemplating on the best move to make. Okay, he's choosing to play Dewey instead. So Dewey scores 2 points more, 32 points, leaving OU high blank. Was left with TELIA. Now, a move that would make him finish this game would be playing through the end of Rinzas by playing Entail for 14 points and definitely sealing his win for this round.
Yes, a very easy outplay here for Dipo is just to play out until, and won't have to worry about any more plays from Kwame. All right, we see him playing EAT though.
Okay. EAT scores more for 27 points.
We see the thought process for Dewey. He was hoping to play OURIE through the R in A0. Thanks for pointing that out in the chat. But now he can simply play Sui and Gajos, which scores decently well and ends his turn.
Okay, so with L high left on Dipo's rack, you could easily play LI, just write
GI for 9 points.
9 points, and that has been committed.
All right, you're saying an end to this round. It had a lot of drama for anyone who has been following from the start. We've had some issues from the players, perhaps about a challenge or something. The miss by Kwame must have been really costly. Penfold was something he needed to find in that turn, but instead he played the phony end pole and it had to be challenged off.
But
Yes. I think you guys from Dipo came in clutch, very, very timely.
exactly.
Even though Geek was played to obstruct that spot, Dipo easily recognized that the Ugaris move still played there, and that gave him a sizable lead then.
Okay, so the final rack has been played and the last word has been laid down. And the final score is 405 for Kwame to Dipo's 426, sealing his win for this last round. We've witnessed pure determination from every players that have been fighting for the WESPAC main event spot tomorrow. So we've seen a lot of brilliant display of Scrabble excellence all round. So I think the from the standings, Team Iwoko stands victorious. On the ratings, he stands unbeaten. Wow, this is a very powerful feat with 8 wins and 0 losses. And Ojio Sikena coming in clutch with 7 wins and 1 loss. And then Jaja of Okobo from Zambia with 7 wins as well with 1 loss. And then in fourth place, we have Philip Mutinda of Kenya with
Wow.
6 wins and 2 losses. It's been an amazing, I've had an amazing time here with Excel watching these beautiful games. And I want to say a very big congratulations to all our qualifiers and to everyone who gave it their all.
Yes, well done to the players. I'm very surprised to see Philip Mutinda still clinch fourth place as at the standings right now because him and Daniel Machanje were leading the standings during like the first 5 games, but after his 2 losses, he went back down in the standings, and it's nice to see him back on top. We've seen some amazing play by Daniel too. He played a 9 timer, exulting, scoring 203 here live on the stream. It was such an exhilarating game, and I've seen marvelous players just come on and off on the stream. It's been so much fun streaming these games. And I promise you it's going to be a lot more fun tomorrow as the WESPAC Championship is officially starting its main event tomorrow. Once again, we have former world champions like Nigel Richards, Adam Logan coming in to play the main event tomorrow.
All right, and with that, it is a wrap for the last chance qualifier. So stay tuned for the real battle tomorrow. I remain your humble commentator, Opeoluwa, along with Excel, and it's good night from us. Thank you very
Good night,
much.
Africa. Good night, the world.